お待たせいたしました。ただいまより IBS クリプトジャパンブロックチェーンウィークサミットを開会いたします。Ladies and gentlemen, Mesdames et Messieurs, we will begin the IBS Crypto Japan Blockchain Week Summit. My name is Clara. I will be your MC for today's stage. 私、本日の司会進行を務めますクララと申します。どうぞよろしくお願いいたします。最初のセッションはビットコインエコシステムのナビゲート、このサイクルにおける機会の戦略的考察です。本セッションではビットコインエコシステムに関する専門家の方々をお招きしております。それでは早速登壇者の方々をご紹介いたします。ピーター・テングさん、ジェフ・インさん、カイル・エリコットさん、コービー・フレイザーさん、そして本セッションのモデレーターを務めていただくのはジョン・リギンスさんです。The first session is Navigating a Bitcoin Ecosystem, a strategic look at opportunity in this cycle. In this session, we have invited the expert in the Bitcoin ecosystem. Let me introduce the speakers. Peter Ten, Jeff In, Kyle Ellicott, and Corbin Fraser. And the session will be moderated by John Riggins. それではリギンスさんよろしくお願いいたします。
All right, good morning. And we are kicking things off with, I think, the right topic because, at least at Bitcoin Magazine and our fund UTXO, we see Bitcoin as the opportunity of the cycle. And I know that everyone on stage is dedicating, a lot of their time and energy into building this Bitcoin ecosystem now. So let's jump into it. First, if we could just get a quick introduction from each one of you and kind of an introduction of how your company fits in the Bitcoin ecosystem today. Peter?
Thank you, John. Good morning, everybody. My name is Peter. I'm growth lead at Zeus Network. How many of you guys have heard of Solana before? Yeah, Solana. Yeah, so it's an honor for me to be here with the ecosystem partners from Bitcoin. So for us as Zeus Network, we are a company and a project based on Solana using SVM, and our vision is to bring Bitcoin onto Solana powered by SVM. So right now, we're working with a lot of ecosystem partners from BTC, Runes, and Ordinals. These three categories will be marked as ZPL assets, which will be transferable onto Solana in Q3. So that's basically an overview of what Zeus Network is. Thanks.
Jeff?
I'm the founder of Merlin Chain. We are building an EVM-compatible chain for Bitcoin. We started building on Bitcoin Layer 1, for Ordinals, BRC20, and now we have Runes. So, we're trying to build a scaling solution for all these users who want to trade, BRC20, Runes, NFTs. That's why we started Merlin, and we launched our mainnet in February. We grew very fast, from February to March to April. Right now, we still have the most BRC20 and Runes, on the EVM solution. And I think the spot trading volume is over 1 billion. The perp trading volume on chain is over 1 billion right now. And we would love to, have all these builders, coming from Ethereum ecosystems, coming from Solana to build for Bitcoin. To build all these native assets, narratives, DApps for Bitcoin, and we want to make these ecosystems fun again. Yeah, thank you.
Kyle?
Hi, everybody. I'm Kyle Ellicott. I run investor relations for the Stacks ecosystem and also an advising partner to Bitcoin Frontier Fund, who has been investing in Bitcoin-based companies since 2021. So I've had 3 years of investing in this space, over 70 plus different companies globally. And on the Stack side, we are a Bitcoin Layer 2, one of the earliest, one of the original core 4 that helped to define the industry and why we are all sitting here today when it comes to programmability and utility around Bitcoin as well.
Corbin?
Hey guys, my name is Corbin Fraser. I'm the CEO of Bitcoin.com. We are one of the largest self-custodial Bitcoin wallets in the ecosystem. We've over 50 million wallets created within our app. Largely Bitcoin, large majority, but we are multi-chain. So we support Ethereum, Polygon, many other EVM chains, and we are looking at where the ecosystem is going in terms of L2s. So it's great to be on this panel and learn some more.
Thanks. First, to kind of set the stage, Kyle, we'll come back to you. Kind of with that investment experience and working directly with a lot of the companies building today, can you kind of set the stage with where the kind of key pieces of the ecosystem are now, and kind of how the narrative around Bitcoin maybe has shifted this cycle?
Yeah, so I'll take us a step back in time and break this into 3 eras. So we had the pre-2023 era, and that was the kickoff of Bitcoin back in 2008, 2009. We had some significant upgrades known as SegWit and Taproot that help it to early unlock technologies and key pieces of the technical stack that we use today. And we also had in about 2015 the beginnings of L2s or sidechains and early networks built on top of Bitcoin layer 1, each bringing different views of what potential could look like when it came to Bitcoin utility. That's Rootstock, Lightning, Liquid, and then Stacks. Each of those respectively going into mainnet between 2017 all the way through 2021, including Stacks. And again, saw early programmability, saw the beginnings of DeFi, and also smart contracts when it came to Bitcoin. And the early dApps, or decentralized application ecosystems, DeFi, NFTs, and even some of the very first domains, web-based domains, before we had ENS as well. Now, the next big era changed everything and why all of us are here at this entire conference today, and that was in 2023 with the release of ordinals and inscriptions. The first ordinal and inscription went live in December 2022, but they didn't catch on until January 2023. And this was huge because not only was it new and innovative technology around Bitcoin, but also reinvigorated the culture of Bitcoin. Because pre-2023, we had 7 years of development around Ethereum and EVM ecosystems that were bringing us the ability to see NFTs at scale, real world assets at scale, DeFi summer and the craze that could be around DeFi as well. And all of a sudden, the excitement shifted over to Bitcoin. What was possible? We have $1.5 trillion in Bitcoin utility. What happens if this is unlocked? What happens if we can forever store permanently all different types of assets in some capacity and have them on a forever chain? This embarked a huge building culture in 2023, a lot which was private, behind the scenes, and come 2024, which is the third era that's leading us to now, we saw the boom of all that development. We went from a TVL in Bitcoin that we all participate in of about 300 million. That represented about 0.1% of Bitcoin's entire market cap. At the same time, Ethereum's TVL and their app ecosystem was about 28%, right around $60+ billion. All of a sudden in January 2024, that all changed. And in 6 months, we saw the release of not just the core 4 L2s publicly, but over 80 different L2s in various networks. The introduction of brand new consensus mechanisms that were never once thought about in Bitcoin beyond proof of work. We saw the idea of token experiments, not standards yet, but experiments from BRC and BRC 721, so the same that we had in Ethereum in Bitcoin. We saw the launch of runes. We saw 12 other different experiments. We also saw, again, this huge excitement in developers. A ton of developers started entering into the Bitcoin ecosystem, wanting to build. We saw TVL start to rise. Venture capital came in waves. The amount of VCs that shifted from Ethereum or EVM base, all of a sudden Bitcoin was a spot that they had to pay attention to. And to come all the way to where we are today, Bitcoin and BTC, both the network and the asset, are no longer boring. They now have the open opportunity to be utilized in some capacity. And $1+ trillion now has the potential to be unlocked, thanks to all of ours and everyone else's efforts, also the institutional demand with over a dozen different ETFs launched globally. And then lastly, we had the fourth halving event, which was very different because of the launches with Runes. We also had Rootstock's upgrade, Merlin, BitLayer, a number of others went mainnet at that same time, plus or minus. And then lastly, that number I said in the end of the year of 2023, $320 million of TVL. Fast forward, as of this morning, that number is north of $3.25 billion. That's a 7x increase in less than 7 months in TVL of all of our efforts around the greater ecosystem, which represents today a quarter percent of Bitcoin's total market cap. And to close, if we make that ratio similar to Ethereum's TVL, that opens up $184 billion worth of potential that lies ahead of us in terms of applications and ecosystem development. And just a fraction of that 1.5 trillion in utility available.
Yeah, thanks. That was really a great overview, and I think highlights the potential moving forward, in addition to kind of the steps that have been important getting us here. One of those steps in kind of the third phase that Kyle mentioned, making Bitcoin utility real. Jeff, can you talk to that a little bit? As someone who's building one of these ecosystems yourself, how is Merlin approaching making Bitcoin more usable? Where are you seeing the demand from your users who hold Bitcoin?
Yeah, I think, I agree. Right now Bitcoin is the third phase, but to me, I think it's just a start. It's the start of everything can be possible with Bitcoin. That's why we start to love crypto. It's because of Bitcoin. And I was a Web2 guy way before this. I didn't do anything in Web3. But last year when I saw Ordinals the first time, I think, this is huge because right now we can put content on chain and we can issue assets from Bitcoin. The Ethereum ecosystem is not ecosystem yet before they have ICO with all these ERC20 tokens. The ability of issuing all these tokens give the user's ability to do these kind of things on Ethereum, and that's why right now we have all these Ethereum layer 2s, DeFi, DApps, like all this kind of stuff. So when Bitcoin has the ability to issue all these assets, no matter it's a BRC20, Runes, or NFT, that gives the opportunity to users and also to builders. And that's the reason we started to to build for this. And right now, if you look at Ethereum valuation to ERC20 valuation, it's about like 1-to-1. And right now, if you look at Bitcoin, it's like $1.2, $1.3 trillion. But if you look at Bitcoin, related assets such as BRC20 and Runes, I guess it's about like 2 billion to 3 billion at most. So 1.3 trillion to 2 billion, I think the potential is huge. If we have more builders, like Merlin is a BRC20 tokens, and right now there are going to be more and more other DApps, using Bitcoin standards to launch their tokens. So I think in the next 5 years to 6 years, probably we'll have like 10 times, even 100 times more values into Bitcoin related assets. I think that's the first potential we see there. The second thing is, when you hold Ethereum in the past 5 years, you have all kinds of things you can do with this. You have native yield from the POS. You can participate in DeFi, in lending. So when the market is very strong in the bull market, you have like very, very high yields by holding Ethereum. But for the Bitcoin holders, if you hold Bitcoin in your wallet, you have one Bitcoin, that's all. After 5 years, you still have one Bitcoin. But right now, when we see all these layer 2s, when we see all these DApps, all these bridges, DEX, perp, lending, you can find yield for Bitcoin. And also, the Babylon is going to be launched in July as well. So we see hundreds of new builders to come here to create yields for Bitcoin. Like right now on Merlin, if you participate in our POS, you will have yield. If you participate in, other LRT solutions such as Solve, Lombard, Lorenzo, all these protocols give you yields by holding Bitcoin. So I think, this will drive more people, more users, more, institutions to hold Bitcoin, because then you can finally have yields. And so what is like the better investment than holding Bitcoin, but also by having the yield? I don't think there's any investment better than that. So I do think there's like lots of potential on the retail side, on the institution side, on the builder side. And right now we only see very few builders, very few TVL, and also the token value is very low. So I think it's a start for everything, and everything can be possible in the Bitcoin ecosystem.
All right. Peter, y'all are taking a slightly different approach here. Can you talk a little bit about the value for Bitcoin and connecting with other ecosystems and kind of where you see Bitcoin sitting in Web3 moving forward more generally?
Yeah, for sure. Just like I think these two gentlemen just mentioned, Bitcoin is at a very unique stage, and this is the beginning of a brand new era. Just like Kyle said, the culture there, Bitcoin is fun again. And coming from a Solana-based project, obviously many of you guys may know now Solana is very fun, and all because of the meme coin Maniac, and just like Pump.Fun recently just reached 2 million daily volume compared to the entire Ethereum network. So coming from Solana side, the culture is fun, is daring, it's trying a lot of new things, and I think Solana ecosystem itself is not really afraid to fail at this point. So from us, how we see Bitcoin and the merge of Solana is that Zeus Network here, we are offering a permissionless way where you can earn native yield on Bitcoin. So huge respect to all the Bitcoin builders like Merlin and Stacks. These guys have been putting years of work to make Bitcoin at this stage right now. And for us, Zeus Network here, we're focusing on earning yield on Bitcoin. So 99% of the Bitcoin that we see right now is sitting idled. A lot of these positions are held by institutional players, large players, who are not wanting to sell at this price. And they have a long-term vision where Bitcoin is a true decentralized digital asset. And I think many of us here believe that, and this is a reason why we're in crypto. So touch basing on Solana here is that Solana has a pretty robust DeFi ecosystem already. Bottle lending protocols, perp trading, meme coin, NFT, all this user experience is what really interests a lot of new users, including Bitcoin ecosystems. So from Zeus Network, since 2021, actually we have been building on Solana on multiple different projects, but we see a huge potential with Bitcoin moving forward because of the L2s, the solutions, the more utility and utilization, and essentially yield bearing. So hence the reason we think, hey, Solana is an answer, and why don't we try to bring Bitcoin liquidity onto Solana and see how this will really, propel the entire space forward? Because we believe that the ecosystem is multi-chain or interoperable in the future, and we should let the market, let the user really decide, which one is easy to use, right? So I think from the culture aspect, Solana is pretty welcoming, and for our own experience with the community is that we have a good mixture of Bitcoin ecosystem partners and community, including Stacks community. They're very strong in Zeus Network as well. Ordinal, Runes, and there's a lot of projects that are reaching out to us, wanting to build a hybrid community between Bitcoin and Solana, just because of the culture is already so embedded in Solana that anything is possible. And I think having fun is also quite important in terms of for retail. So I think for Solana right now, we're also at a very, I would say a new era where we get an opportunity to see if we can surpass Ethereum. And I don't think it will be possible without the liquidity coming from Bitcoin ecosystem. So I think Solana and Bitcoin ecosystem, we work hand in hand, and hence the reason why we're very excited to be here. And we're working very closely with a lot of strong Bitcoin partners, including Stacks. Actually, Monique Stacks, the co-founder here, actually invested in Zeus Network. So we really, I would say, respect these OG builders from years ago, pushing, propelling, and trying to make things work through the entire years, regardless of bull and bear. But just like we said, there is a lot of opportunities, and for us, mainly, we are currently in our testnet, and we're in discussion with a lot of miners who are interested in tapping their position into Solana. They see Solana as a merging opportunity where they can leverage the position and participate by providing liquidity or utilize a Bitcoin position in Solana. So there's a few use cases that, why there's a few use cases for Bitcoin positions on Solana, and one of the reason or one of the utilization is for ordinals. So we all know that ordinal is, very hot, and I think there's a lot of new user coming into Bitcoin because of ordinal as well, because of the art aspect. So for ZPL, for our programming library, one bottleneck we can solve is that we can mint on Solana and then do the reveal onto ordinal. So this will prevent a lot of, for example, transaction times or potential sniping. So there's a few use cases already that is being built moving forward. So yeah, I think connecting Bitcoin ecosystem to Solana is our start, and this is what Zeus Network is doing. We're going live in Q3, so it's quite exciting for us to be working with these guys. And moving forward with Zeus Network, for runes and ordinal is also possible. And we're working closely with a project called Ordinal X Tribe, and there are hybrid projects between Solana and Bitcoin as well, where they're also envision the future where Solana and Bitcoin makes a lot of sense. So there's quite a few builder projects that is, I would say, taking this time in this era where there's huge possibilities between the potential of Bitcoin and all these 1.3 trillion assets. How will these assets move? Which layers are going into, and what does these liquidity really want? So I think it will be interesting moving forward for us, Zeus Network and Solana, to see what are the potential, and it's good to be here with these gentlemen.
Thanks, Peter. Corbin, let's come to you. So we're here in Kyoto. Obviously, this whole industry is just totally global at this point, but there does still sometimes seem to be a little bit of a disconnect, maybe between the East and the West, in terms of kind of where the energy is focused and kind of a knowledge gap. Can you talk a little bit about that from your perspective, from one of these OG companies itself at Bitcoin.com?
Sure, yeah. So I think one thing I observe, at least in North America, there's a high amount of Bitcoin maximalism, whereas in Asia, there's the polar opposite, where it's a high amount of like shitcoinery. And the balance between those two is like polar opposites. You've got extreme shitcoinery in Asia, where everything goes, and then you've got a lot of like diehard maxis that kind of promote a Bitcoin-only future, primarily originating from North America, out of Vancouver, coastal regions in the US. And I think probably some advice I would suggest to those people is just, within the Bitcoin maximalist side of stuff on the North American side, keeping an open mind on some of the innovations that are happening. Not everything is shitcoinery. Like there is a myriad of layers of quality in terms of what's happening outside of the Bitcoin ecosystem. Things on Ethereum have been proven to not be a scam. Things like Aave, lending borrowing protocols. There's a lot of high value volume transfer occurring on Ethereum and layer 2s. And I think if the Bitcoin maximalists who are kind of more pushing for a unified BTC only world can take some of the good ideas from all of the innovation and high openness society that we see within the Asia crypto space, then we'll probably have a better result at the end of the day. But I mean, from my perspective, there is still this like, I'm still a bit of a wet blanket when it comes to like the extreme optimism of Bitcoin layer 2s. I see there being value there, but I also think that there's a lot of great numbers and huge potential. We see the market cap of Bitcoin, but what we see, at least within the wallet ecosystem, is that a lot of the Bitcoin wallet users aren't quite ready to make that leap from saying, I'm willing to do something risky with my Bitcoin. A lot of the people that are holding their Bitcoin have taken this position to largely escape some of the, say, financial tomfoolery that's occurring in traditional financial markets. So when you have people that have been investing and holding Bitcoin to escape a high-risk scenario, they're less likely to go invest in further high-risk scenarios within the DeFi ecosystem, and that includes things like Bitcoin Layer 2s and Bitcoin Yield and all these other things. So on one hand, I'm optimistic that we can get there, that the teams are going to, I'm bullish that we need people to keep building this, but there is a high bar that needs to be set, and the sad reality is the best Bitcoin Layer 2 right now is on Ethereum and Ethereum Layer 2s. So there's a high bar to hit. We need to see Bitcoin Layer 2 interoperability. We need to see an easy, proven, safe model for Bitcoin holders to deposit yield in a non-custodial fashion where they're not going to risk their funds and have an FTX solution, at the end of the day where they become a creditor. So Lots of work to do, and I'm excited to see all these guys building. But there is a lot of things that we need to consider when it comes down to, it's not all bullish. There's been a lot of brain drain on the Bitcoin ecosystem that moved into Ethereum, and for sure in the last year or two, things have gotten fun again. Bitcoin's fun again, and we're trying to bring people back. But it is a bit of a whipsaw when it comes to like getting people back. There's a little bit of a barrier of friction to say, hey, we're fun again, and we swear it's going to be okay. We're not gonna hard fork and turn off ordinals. That's never going to happen, will it? We don't know. It could.
Can I touch on something real quick? So you made a very, very good point that I think needs to be reemphasized, Corbin, yes, some are moving, some are still hesitant because of what we've seen in the Ethereum and other ecosystems, and Bitcoin's unique to this. We have one chance. One chance. If anything bad goes on, we lose $1 billion in a leak. This game is over. With the amount of institutional involvement, the amount of venture funds, the amount of individuals and holders that have this capital for a variety of reasons, we have one chance to get this right. And the technical stack from above the L1, in terms of Bitcoin, we don't fully know what is all necessary yet to turn on a fully active $1.5 trillion economy overnight. There's still a lot to be learned. As Jeff mentioned, we're in the beginning stages of a lot of this, which is exciting. And there's a lot of people, as Corbin mentioned, that are hesitant, and they should be, because that capital does not sit in the way that it had in other ecosystems for a variety of reasons and uses. In many cases, this is life savings we're talking about. This is corporate capital. This is institutional funds, hedge funds, venture funds. This is big money. We have one chance. And so we have to take it slow. We have to take it at a pace to make sure, whether it's a layer 2, it's a sidechain, it's an L3 subnet, it doesn't matter what that stack will look like as it's completed. We just need to take it slow and make sure that we do it right. So the moment that $1.5 and maybe $3 trillion economy, as Jeff noted in the few years, turns on overnight, because we've never seen that before. Not here in Web3, globally, we've never seen that kind of capital market turn on overnight. That we all want to be ready so that those that are willing to start playing feel safe and confident to enter that space, and that we as the developers, the builders, the investors pushing that forward feel confident that it's ready to handle it as well.
Really important distinction there for why Bitcoin as an ecosystem is unique here. Jeff, I want to let you comment on that also as someone who's,
Yeah, I think the reason I think right now is a start. If you look at Ethereum, we have OP rollups, ZK rollups, and it took them like 5 to 6 years. So when it comes to Bitcoin, which is more a legit asset, I think it will take more than 5 to 6 years. So I think first we should have the patience here, and also I think we as a founder, as a builder, we are more like a spirit of build fast, break things, and we actually don't break things, but we try to make it safe. We have the bridge over $15 billion Bitcoin, in and out in just like 2 months. So we will try to make everything, safe. But because we don't have smart contract on Bitcoin layer 1, so right now everybody looks like a sidechain. We need like MPC solutions. But this month, next month, we have like Babylon coming along with self-custodial. With you don't have to give your private key or your asset to a third party, this kind of thing. So I think everything is evolving. So every month, every quarter, we will see some new builders with new crazy ideas. We see OPCat, we see BitVM. So I think just be patient, have some faith. Probably in 7 years, we'll have some real Bitcoin layer 2s.
All right, 7 years. We only have about 30 seconds left, so. Peter, I'll give you the last word. Kind of coming from that Solana, move fast and break things life. Give us a final word on how Bitcoin can kind of take advantage of some of these other networks to innovate a little bit.
Yeah, I think first of all, it's security. I think security is one of the biggest concern for all of us builders and also for retail as well. But I think this space does move really fast, and a lot of times timing is really important. But let's not forget, market is volatile. There's ups and downs, and I see many of you guys could be retails and maybe your portfolio is down a little bit, but during the summertime, in the next couple of months, maybe just sit back and relax and really, take some time off the screen. I think it's also quite important to, stay long-term in this cycle. So, judging from experience, there's times that are bad, but don't get shaking out in the market. I think picking the right projects and sticking with them long-term will usually result in a rewarding situation. So I think that will be my last word.
All right, good advice across the board. Thanks, everyone.
ありがとうございました。皆様大きな拍手をお送りください。